having me, Shy TV. It's a pleasure to be here. So I'm Akosua Bonsu. I'm a young lady. I grew up in Osu, went to school in Achimota, primary and high school, went to school at Legon a bit, and then went to school in England, University of Manchester, and worked in England and then moved to America to work doing environmental health and safety, sustainability, corporate social responsibility. And then now I'm currently back in Ghana. I actually am working. So Africa, it's an amazing continent. It's one of the richest continents in the world. It has a large population of different tribes. Actually, that's what makes the continent. The tribes are found across countries, and there's so much rich culture here. There's so much resources throughout Africa. If you're going through northern Africa, through the west or east, central to the southern part of Africa, it's so, the people are so friendly, so kind, well cultured, well mannered. There's so many resources here, like I was saying, and a lot of young people here in Africa. I might define it as the world. It actually dictates what other parts of the world do, whether they see it that way or not. It's the place that everybody wants to invest, wants to take money from. So there's a lot of good things here in Africa. It's actually sort of the mother of the world. That's Africa, the mother of. Well, I grew up in Ghana. I'm Fanti from Anamabu Cape Coast. I grew up in Ghana and Osu. Fortunately for me, I didn't grow up in the village like most people did. I got to go to a good school. My parents were amazing. They really instilled good manners and made sure I had good education and access to so many things. And looking back and looking at where my grandma comes from or where my other family members come from, they lack all of those things. Even for those of us who travel outside Accra to go party or have fun, when you're going through, you see the struggles that is there. So for me, it's trying to empower and encourage these people there by motivating them, by making sure that they can do it, and also changing the mindsets of the chiefs that are there to invest in their own people, to create jobs, little things. There's so many farmlands going on there. They can create industries to generate different types of products from these, whether it's agribusiness. From cashews, you can make milk, you can make paste. From coconut, you can make milk, you can make chairs. From mangoes, you can dry them, you can make yogurt, mix them up with milk to make different things. I mean, all of these different things that are in the villages is what I want to do, because some of us are so fortunate and we've had a good life, and so it's nice to impact it. And I think I was telling you earlier, when you were a kid, our parents used to take care of little people, bring people home and pay for them to go to school and ensure that they had a good livelihood. Nowadays, we don't do that. We're missing all of those things, like trying to help each other out, working with the artists, paying for someone to go to school even, or paying for, paying for these kids to work with people, those who are teenagers, 16 years old, who've come out of junior high, paying for them to work with artists, those who make carvings, paintings, carpenters, masonry, work with them. And maybe they won't be able to pay these kids, but trying to pay the kids so that they have a sense of livelihood. They have a sense of ownership in creating their own life. That's one of the things that I'm working on, and I think it's I think most people do that, but they don't recognize it. But if we work collectively together, we can sort of like help each other, and we can move forward quicker, and ensuring that people have a better livelihood, and people have a good mindset, and people can develop their own communities and their own towns, and take advantage and fix all of the risk and the hazards that they see there, whether it's flooding or issues with mosquitoes or not having good water or electricity, by creating solar, creating good roads, covering the gutters, creating jobs, creating markets where these people can sit, creating all these good stuff for the people. And that's why I'm like, okay, it's good to be a humanitarian, work with people to help out and push philanthropy, because I'm sure so many people want to do it, but they sort of don't know how to do it. Yeah. Well, for me, I think the mindset is the main challenge, whether from the top all the way down. Mostly you try to change the mindset of the people on the top, and it's like they've gone through generations and they're set that way. Even though you can still change it, but the youth, the kids who are in school, is their mindset are even off. What they're taught in school, the way they're spoken to at homes, the chiefs, the way they sell the land, they're not taking understand how to create urban planning in their own village, and it's not their fault. It's just the general mindset, and there's trying to encourage them and trying to work with these chiefs and work with individuals and businesses to go and work in their communities that they're even from. CEOs to go and instead of doing charity or donating money for people to set up events in Accra, they can push it into their villages and set up community centers, pay for people to go to trade schools, set up trade workshops to help these people. It's basically the mindset is the biggest challenge, and then that's the main thing, and not being able to have access to good resources. Even though we have a lot of resources, it all triggers down back to the mindset, how to take advantage, how to be your individual self, how to care for yourself, how to know you're worth it. And it's a mindset from everywhere, from parents to teachers to leaders to the civilians as well. You can see it every day. My business is, I have a few businesses, but the main one is Regulatory Compliance Agency. And we work with SMEs and multinational corporations in America and in Ghana, Canada, the Caribbean, Mexico, to ensure that they have systems in place to make sure they have a viable business, whether it's through ESG, which is environmental social governance, or it's creating jobs for the people, and also working with small businesses, especially here in Ghana, especially those who have ideas and want to do a startup, working with them and ensuring that they have a business plan, they have certain things in place, they know how to go for funding, and also changing their mindset to look at longevity in businesses and how to empower their workers. I also am on LinkedIn as Akosua Bonsu. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also reach out to me at akosua.bonsu at rcagency.global. You can contact Shy TV. You get to talk to me. I also have the Chieftaincy Foundation. We're working with the chiefs and ensuring that we can, improve the livelihood of the local communities, and also send jobs, give them ideas to focus on legacy, to ensure that they have a viable community where there's clean water, where people go to work every day, have money in their pocket. We understand that there's inflation right now. People are struggling, and part of what we do as a business is work with businesses to ensure that they can have profit. They can work with other businesses to sell their goods. Instead of just exporting your products, people can package it here, label it, and make sure they're in right containers before they're exported, because we just export it and the foreigners take all the money, making sure that we work with farmers to ensure that they don't just produce mangoes, but they can produce juice, they can produce dry mangoes, cassava farmers to produce gari, chips, flour, those who make tiger nuts to produce milk, tiger flour. We also work with businesses to set up work instructions for their employees, those who are working in rigging, construction management, those who are working on the farm, to set up all of those things for them to be able to have a sense of livelihood, making sure there's bathrooms for the workers, there's fair wages for the workers, there's also no child labor, putting all those policies in place so they can get funding. That's one of the things we do as well. We work with so many multinational and multilateral organizations, from Danida to IMF to USAID, UKAID, UK immigration, and so many organizations through India, making sure that there's funding available, of Switzerland, there's funding available, and we put policies in place, and also we write the proposal in place for companies to be able to get funding. and we put systems in place to audit them to ensure that they have good documentation so that they continue to get the money and they have